Left of test, page 309. Welcome back. How long has it been? About a year? Okay. Hello. Okay. Isaac Suva Targum. Until now we were speaking Megillah's written in Hebrew, and you don't understand the word of Hebrew. And you hear the Megillah read in Hebrew, so the Mechaber said Yotzer. You don't have to understand the language. What about if the Megillah is written in another language? Be written in another language. To be written in another language. One of the languages which the nations of the world speak, you have another Megillah. Okay, review it. It's a Mishnah. Lo yotzi de chavoso b'krioso, ela makir osa loshen levod. You can only be yotzi without reading if you understand the language. If you understand the language, but of course we speak about it's translated properly into that language. It's not, it's a loose translation, and many of the words are not translated. Avalim hoisek suva b'chsav ivri. What about if it was written in ksav ivri, meaning the characters of the writing was ksav ivri, ukrob aramis la'arami lo yotzer. We'll see. It was written in ksav ivri, meaning if the alphabet is, let's say, an English alphabet, a Greek alphabet, or a Russian alphabet, whatever it is, and it's written in Russian, you'll be yotzer. What about it's written in Hebrew, but let's say it's like transliterated in Hebrew characters, but it's English. English. Use Hebrew characters for English. Mm-hmm. So you understand the language, but how's it written? Mm-hmm. It's not written in English characters. It's not the English alphabet. Right? Lo yotzer. Let's hear what the Mechaber says, okay? I said the word Russian, he's getting a little excited. Okay. Ukra Ramis lo yotza. Why should Zenim Koral Peh? Because it's the equivalent of reading it by heart. Because what you're reading, the alphabet, is not the alphabet of the language. It's the Hebrew alphabet, and the language is another language. Became Chul Yotza Hakorei Yidechovo. So since the reader is not Yotzei, because it's not a valid reading, Lo Yotze Shemei Mimenu. So the listener, it's Shemei Kone. He's representing me. So if it's a valid reading, I'm Yotze. But if it's not a valid reading, I'm not Yotze. It comes out of Chidush. Comes out, let's say the reader understands the language and the listener doesn't understand the language. Right? So if Shemei Kone means he's my agent, and there's only a condition that you have to listen to the words that are being read, but really his reading is my reading, so seemingly, if he understands the language, it'd be sufficient. Even though the listener doesn't understand it. So if the reader doesn't understand, it's one thing. But the reader understands it, the listener doesn't understand it. He's my agent. He understands it. But seemingly, you're not Yotzei. The listener also has to understand the language. Even though the reader understands it. Which means it's another language, not Hebrew.
I thought that was the whole purpose of the Shelach Tzibur.
What?
I thought that was the whole purpose of the Shelach Tzibur, to get up there and represent you, even if you got hold by it.
No. That's where you can't read. You don't understand the language. The language, there's difference. Person's illiterate. If it's Hebrew, it's not a problem. We'll see. Let's see the Mishna Berura. Ha'iksuva Targum. Afilu aksav ha'iksav ashuris. Even though the alphabet is written, the letters are the same letters as you have in the Torah, the block letters, Hebrew letters. If you don't understand the language, you're not Yotzei. When are you Yotzei if you do understand the language? How does that, in what alphabet does that be written? Dafkim kori b'loshen hakosu b'megillah. Avol imatik ze loshen acher. Avshu makish te al loshonos yacher eni Yotzei. Batam kidel kamei. Again, it says Avolim hoysek suva b'ksav ivri ukra aramis. Here, the person understands Hebrew. He understands Hebrew. So the characters are Hebrew, and the language is Aramaic. You understand both languages. You say, well, it doesn't make a difference. The alphabet I could read, right? It's an alphabet I could read. And the language which is communicated through that other alphabet I also understand. The answer is they don't go together. You want to write it in Greek? The alphabet's Greek and the language is Greek, fine. But although the alphabet you could read, which is another alphabet, and the language you understand, but it's not the alphabet of the language which is being read in. Therefore, it's not valid. No, because that's not a problem. Talking about because here you have to read it. Well, what's the issue here? Because it's the equivalent of reading it by heart. The Aramaic language has to be read from a script. The script has to be written in Aramaic. But if it's a Hebrew script and the language is Aramaic, it's the equivalent of reading it by heart. Because it's not the proper alphabet. You say Brich Shmei. You have to say Brich Shmei. You don't have to read Brich Shmei from the text. Here, the Megillah has to be read from a text. So that's the reason why it's not a valid reading. Well, we'll see. We'll see in a moment. What's Ladino? Somebody knows Sephardi here. Okay, Ladino. Okay, good. So it's not really Spanish. It's like Yiddish. It's Spanish Yiddish. It's a jargon of a Sephardi. It's like Hebrew Spanish. That's what it is. Right. Okay. It's like Yiddish. Same thing. So if Yiddish is written, let's say the characters of Yiddish is Hebrew letters. That is the characters. So that would be like Hebrew. That is the script of Yiddish. That would not be considered Koral Peh. Because that is the alphabet. That's the alphabet of Yiddish. You don't write Yiddish with other characters. Yes. Well, I want to do the Mishna Berura. Avol Moisek Suva. Ratzloma. Ema Samin Shiotze Mishum Shemakar Loshon. When a Yotze, if you understand the language, Dafkim Kuri Beloshon Hakosov B'Megillah. Avol Imatik Ze Aloshon Loshon Acher. Avshu Makish Neliyahu Seder. B'chsav Ivri Ratzloma Beloshon Ho Ivri. Kra Ramis La Rami. Ashmi'inon Davol Gav Shemegillah Lefonov U'Me'ayin B'Chol Teva. I explained it incorrectly over here. He's saying this, what he's saying. Not like I said it. He's saying this. What about, it's written in Hebrew, and as I read it, I translate it into the language so people should understand. Vayi b'mei Achashverosh. And I speak English. And it was the days of Achashverosh.
Both, you're doing both.
No, you read it, the person I'm reading to, but I'm not reading Hebrew. Hebrew is not a problem. It's another language. Right? But I'm not reading the Hebrew. It's written in Hebrew, but I'm translating it into English. So I'm using the text only as a means, the basis for my translation. I'm using the text to be able to translate, but I'm not saying the Hebrew words. So the listener only hears the English. He doesn't. I'm not saying the Hebrew, then I'm translating the Hebrew. If I would do that, so good. It's easier to with the Hebrew. But here I'm only using the script only as a means, a basis for my translation. That's why it's Al-Palpeh. That's why it's Palpeh. 1 second. The reader's only using the text as a basis for translation. He doesn't know it by heart. The reader doesn't know by heart. He needs the written text to be able to translate. So all the listener hears is the translation. He doesn't hear the text. He doesn't hear the script. It's not you first read the Hebrew, you read the Hebrew part. And it was in the day of Achashverosh. That's what he says in English.
But the Hebrew
is in front of him.
He's translating.
So therefore, that's by heart. He's reading it by heart. So the listener is what is he?
He's not hearing anything. He's got the translation.
Exactly. No. What about yourself? You have to read it. You have to verbalize. Why don't you read it and you read it that way? And it was the days of Achashverosh, right? So on and so forth. Would you be the same problem? Because you're not reading, what you're saying is not written on the text. And that's what he says. If the reader is not Yotzei, because it's considered reading it not from a text, so the listener can't be better than the reader.
That's pretty obvious. If you're not really translating, why would you think that?
It's say, because since it's connected to the text, maybe that's reading from the text. No, the text has to be written in the text. What you're reading has to be written in the text. And what you're saying is not written in the text, it's a translation of the text. This comes up, when you Mabba Sedra, you have to be Mabba Sedra from the Chumash. Right? So, if a person, when you read, sometimes, let's say, especially you turn a page. So you saw the last word on the previous page, but you're going quickly. You didn't say it as you saw it, but you knew what you saw a moment ago. So to a degree, is that called reading it from memory, or is that reading it from text? Well, let's say a person's Balkori, right? Balkori, so he's supposed to read it from the text. So let's say he finishes the Aliyah, and he reads the last word, and he lifts his eyes. He doesn't read it from text. But how does he know it's the last word? Because no, because he saw it. He saw it a moment ago. Right? That's not memory. That's considered. I just saw it. No, he read it, even though it's not a good thing, because ultimately it could become problematic, right? Because sometimes you're not reading from you're reading from memory. You're not reading from the text, especially if you prepare it. If you prepare it so the person already knows much of the text. Right. Some of the words are committed to memories. He's not reading from the text. Because as you read, when you read very often, as you read, there's always a certain degree of memory involved, right? You see something, and you're like on to the next word, but you still have the previous word or the following word. But it's like within your line of vision, and therefore you say it. He's reading, he's looking at the Megillah, every word is being translated for the listener. Maybe that's better than just reading it from memory, because he's using the text as a basis for the translation. Maybe you consider that better than reading it by heart. Because factually you're not reading what's written in the text. Korah from the text means it has to be read from the text itself, what it says in the text. Using it as a basis for translation, that's not sufficient. Lo yotzer rotzloma hashomea came da kori kroa per ve'ene chashivo kriyo af la'atzmo. He wouldn't be yotze himself with this reading, the reader. Lo adav hashomea mimeno, so the listener can't be any better than the reader himself. Okay, stop here.
When you read the Torah, someone reads the Torah, does it by heart.
You're not Yotze.
Let's say he reads the pasuk and he just he blanks out and just does it by heart. Yeah.
It's not valid. It has to be read from the text. Alan, you wanted to say something. You forgot.
The word Megillah on what kind of moment. I was thinking that when you read the Russian, or any other language, the order of words is different. Completely different. Like the sentence begins from a different word. So Megillah has to be read in order. And if you say it in Russian, like you're saying different. You're saying the word that was last in Hebrew in the sentence, you say it first, and then you say so as if you put it in the Mafreya, but you're reading it not in the same order. So I don't remember what bothered me